What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is John Paul Investing. Today I am bringing you a new Nano Dimension interview. Yoav Stern was interviewed by the Red Chip Money Report. Once again, I believe this is the third or fourth interview in the past 6 months. Yoav Stern talked to Dave Gentry from Red Chip about the new possible mergers and acquisition targets. He did not mention any company specifically, but he mentioned the kinds of businesses that they're looking to target. He talked about the revenues that they produce. He talked about potentially capturing revenues, and he actually gave us some figures, so I'm going to share with you how much money they're expecting to make from these acquisitions. He also talked about a brand new machine that's going to be released in the middle of this year, and he also talked about a few more things, but the more important thing that I found from this interview was the greater picture that he has, or the greater vision that he has for Nano Dimension. This interview is packed with super useful information for us as investors, so you guys do not want to miss this. Now, before I got started, if you guys have not already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. This way you get notified when I make videos just like this one, and it's a way for you to show your support for the channel. And if you would like access to our private Discord community of over 150 members and would like to know exactly when we buy or sell specific stocks that we talk about here, I highly recommend you guys check out the link in the description to the Patreon group. There's a limited number of seats, so I highly recommend you check it out sooner than later. And lastly, guys, do not forget about your 2 free stocks from WeBull using the other link in the description. All you have to do is open an account with them, deposit $100, and then you will get your 2 free stocks. Not only will you help support the channel, but it will also be a way for you to get free money. So go ahead and check out the other link to the WeBull. So the first thing Yoav Stern talks about is acquisition targets. So the first acquisition target that they're targeting is a Type A acquisition, which is a large company that is already in the traditional printed circuit board market. So these are companies targeting pretty large markets. They're expecting between $50 and $200 million in revenue from any of these acquisitions. Across the US and Europe, they have looked at around 30 different businesses, and they are looking to acquire one of these Type A businesses. The second kind of business is going to be a Type B business, which is a smaller company with some existing revenues and promising technology that they could use to implement into their already existing Dragonfly printers. So they would prefer to essentially buy out future competition and help them in the process with equity and cash, and in turn they would also be improving their existing product. Type B companies are expected to pull in around $2 to $50 million in revenues. Again, same thing, they don't want to use all cash, even though they have a ton of cash. They would prefer to use cash and issue some equity to the businesses in their buyouts. Now, Yoav Stern also did want to blame the SPAC tsunami, or the blank check companies, the special purpose acquisition companies, for the absurd valuations in a lot of these companies that they're looking at. Simply put, he said that these companies are overvalued for the technology that they're bringing to the table, so Nano Dimension is being very careful about the company that they choose in order to get the best bang for their buck. Yoav Stern also did mention in 2020 he was very surprised with the revenue figures. So last year Nano Dimension did 3.4 million in revenues, and the year prior, 2019, they did around 7 million in revenues. The difference in last year's revenues, however, was there was a shutdown across global markets because of a CV-19 pandemic. So they were able to achieve a $3.4 million revenue figure without the sale of any of their printers. They do not realize any of their sales until the customer actually has the printer in their factory. So there's a lot of orders on the backlog for Nano Dimension right now that have not even gone through, and they were still able to reach 50% of their previous year revenue figures without the sale of any new printers. This is how they're essentially proving the concept of the nano services and the use of their inks. Customers need to use inks if they want to prototype, so even if they can't buy the machines, they could still buy the inks. And the customers that do use their nano services are essentially going to be future customers for them because they will understand the product and service already. They're expecting a slingshot or inflection point for the business where a lot of machines will be sold, and we are going to see a lot of capital expenditures in the markets again. Now, Yoav Stern did mention for nano services the cost of between around $5,000 to $20,000 per prototyping, which is a figure that we actually did not know of. So anytime they mention a new prototyping, I can expect a revenue figure between these numbers, $5,000 to $20,000 per prototype. Now, Yoav Stern also mentioned a new Dragonfly printer model, which is expected to be released mid-year in 2021. They're waiting a bit to release this because they would prefer sales right after the release. They're kind of giving a little more time for CV-19 to lift and for capital expenditures to be released. So they are waiting a little bit to release the printer, but this new printer is more capable than the Dragonfly LDM model that we currently have. I believe it could be an upgrade to the LDM, or it might look completely different. We actually have no idea, but it is going to be more capable, likely faster in the printing process because it is aimed for prototyping and first round production in any kind of prototyping, and it is likely to have less human intervention than even the LDM. It should also be capable of printing more layers on the vertical side, so the Z-axis, you have your X, Y, but the Z-axis, or the height on the board, is going to change as well with the new machine. So I'm not exactly sure what exactly changed there, but it is likely going to be faster, with more layers, possibly more materials that are going to be available on the machine, and even more reduced human intervention. Yoav Stern refers to these taller printed circuit boards actually as printed circuit cubes. So you're able to get a circuit board that's usually pretty large on the X and Y axis and just shrink that down and essentially rebalance the X and Y axis into more of the Z axis, so you can kind of cramp everything up in a little box or a little cube as opposed to having a large flat pancake covering a large surface area. He also did mention that in general the Dragonfly printers are very flexible machines, as the more layers that they print does not mean more cost, as the machine is simply dispensing the product across the same amount of space. So the machine doesn't really know exactly what it is printing. It is simply given directions, and it will dispense the same amount of ink across a similar space. Nano Dimension is known to have 4 revenue sources right now as of 2021. They are able to sell their proprietary inks, they're able to sell their printers through Nano services, and they also have their service contracts, which the first year is a warranty, and then every year after that is essentially a contract that they can sign with their customers. So Nano Dimension is not fully dependent on just one income stream. They have multiple income streams that they can count on. They have the razors and razor blades model, as they call it, because, in order to use the machines, you have to buy the inks, or kind of like a razor. In order to shave, you need the razor. And the last question that Yoav Stern ends up answering in this interview, which I think is actually the most insightful one of all of them, is the vision that they have for Nano Dimension. Now, as you guys may know, they recently hired Dr. Eli David, which specializes in machine learning and deep learning for computers. Dr. Eli David specializes in artificial intelligence, and this is the direction that Yoav Stern wants to take the business. So he expects the Dragonfly printers to be part of a node of a greater manufacturing neural network of Dragonfly printers, essentially where you would be able to keep your inventory digitally and print it out on demand. Essentially, you would keep them in a digital file, and the more you need to prototype, well, you go onto your software and you prototype and reiterate, and then at the other side, you would have a network of printers printing an array of parts for you, and essentially they see this as a way to keep the future of manufacturing of electronics cost efficient and environmentally friendly at the same time, all while being smart and part of a greater neural network. And that about sums up the interview. If you want to watch the interview, I'm going to leave another link in the description for you guys to watch that. The video I'm making here is essentially a summed up version of that interview and how I understood it, so that way I can get it to you guys as fast as possible. Right now, the video has around 1,600 views, but I'm sure that is going to go way up after this video is released. So go ahead and check out that interview. I will leave the link in the description. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification to get notified when I make videos just like this one. And don't forget your 2 free stocks from WeBull. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.